Cancers on the periodic table of existence. A malevolent biological process shows a timistic principle common to all levels of existence. Timistic. Eventually, a cancer consumes more time than the supporting system can provide, which leads to the death of the whole system, including the cancer. Inflation of money is a thermometer that measures the cheapening of human time by legal or illegal theft that is both private and public. Many people are overpaid in the symbols of time for what the substance of their time is really worth. These people are a cancer upon those from whom the overpaid extract wealth. The underpaid. Time is money, money is time. Overpayment is a cancerous time theft.
Instances of individual inflation are more money without more goods and services. What economists use as a general definition of inflation, more money chasing the same number of goods and services, is not applied to the accumulation of legal and illegal individual theft. Thieving people are cancers to the systems upon which they are dependent. The actions of the habitual politicians and tenured economists to free up money for the wealthy is like feeding sugar to a malignant growth. Only carcinogens trickle down to the healthy cells that must become cancerous for short-term survival. Inflation is like it from politicians. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
Many countries, states, and cities invest a lot of time into producing a human problem solver, education. The productivity of this investment is negated when the graduates make feet. When these time-saving creating investors ship out in mass, the local economy suffers a brain drain. While many think the recipient of the brains come out ahead, it is a cancer that destroys the whole system with the symptoms of illegal immigrants and international terrorism. As brains are attracted to countries with greater time rewards, so are brains attracted to industries with greater time rewards, even if those industries don't create time. America's infrastructures have been cancerously consumed or debrained by the big money allowed in the deregulation of medicine, energy, and stocks. If you fret the drop in quantity and quality of basic services, keep chilling the politicians' promises of benefits from deregulation that raises prices without raising service. Capitalism. Is it a cancer? No. The problem is the people who claim to champion capitalism. They are not capitalists. As capitalism is not the cause of the cancer, nor is revolution the cancer answer. America's stock markets do not capitalize production and jobs. 99% of the money does not capitalize problem solving. The money that poured into the stock market bubble built mansions and bald mistresses. It was not capitalism, but the opposite. Decapitalism, economic bloodshed, the misuse of stocks, bonds, money, and land to decapitalize production and to decapitate employment, is not capitalism. Monetarism is a cancer that reallocates real wealth through globalized usury that benefits a few. When the financial system collapses, all the money will be worth naught in a world fraught with rot.
The puppeteering of Nobel laureate Milton Friedman is not about capitalism and freedom. The godfather of monetarism is a master of decapitalism and despotism. The timistic analysis of monetarism and globalism prompts the question, did a freedman enslave man?
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? No. Flattery is the psychological form of inflation. Flattery is a form of lying, whether to self or to others. The cheapening nature of inflation, which comes from flair, can be understood by considering two semantic cousins. Flattery is a cheap comment that is not a compliment. Flattery is an inflated comment. A person who allows themselves to be flattered develops an inflated self-opinion that self-destructs, a cancer. A medical cousin of flattery exists, which most people would say is a cheapening experience, flatulence. Like flattery and inflation, what interpersonal relationship signifies a relationship without time, compared to its time-worthy parallel, love. Infatuation. Love is not black or white, but a continuum of gray shades, based on the time the lover is willing to give the beloved. The timeless end of the continuum is rape or infatuation. Semantically, infatuation has a comet or boomerang relationship with inflation and flatulence. Fatuous, foolish, blow, flow. Infatuation is a cancer that decays deep human relationships. Compared to love, infatuation is a lot of cheap, hot air. Where can one find the greatest amount of flattery, flatulence, and infatuation that fuels inflation? The United States Congress. Gambling is a cancer to a society which encourages gambling to the point of dependency. Gambling is betting some time for more time, an existential impossibility on a regular basis.
For every gambling-derived life hour that finally reaches a problem-needing solution, many life hours are lost by the people who lose their time and lives trying to beat the losing odds. This no-victim tax is both diluted and misdirected by the bureaucrats who manage lottery systems. A similar gamble and loss of life hours, both direct and indirect, is Wall Street gambling. Most people's gamble with tobacco smoking is unique. A double existential cancer. The tobacco settlement money is not gambled. The politicians use it for pork, including subsidizing tobacco farmers. A combo cancer.
Gambling is a human cancer that consumes more time than it creates. The line, as noted in a major web segment of Timism, CO2 matrix of oil droughts, the rising rate of burning oil is creating a human mass that is dependent on the time savings of oil, while at the same time the global warming and drying from increased carbon dioxide is causing droughts and floods. A timistic analysis of the time saved by burning a barrel of oil shows that the subsequent problems waste more time than is saved initially. Burning oil is like putting money in a furnace. The more money you put in, the more money you burn up. Likewise, the more time we save today from burning oil, the more time we will waste tomorrow to the problems of burning too much oil. Oil is like
Cancer to education. Harvard. Gross grade inflation and mother of all diploma mills. Harvard is like oil and nuclear energy, a cancer on the mass of humanity. Harvard is the gas guzzler of higher ed. A timistic analysis of the time that Harvard consumes to exist relative to the time creation of its faculty and students is negative. Like the rising cost of habitual elections, the rising cost of Harvard's privileged education has reductivity, negative productivity, like any cancer. A rich Peru graduate from Yale with a gentleman C, that is, a middle-class F, received an MBA from Harvard by mail. This chart on general education productivity applies to Harvard University. To wit, phylogeny recapitulates ontogeny. In mimicry of incumbency, rich kids can buy elections from the despots, or buy sheepskins from the diploma mill. In mimicry of incumbency, as habitual politicians must spend all their time raising campaign donations to get reelected, so must habitual educators spend all their time trolling alumni to keep their overpaid jobs. In saying that Harvard is the gas guzzler of higher education, it is not saying Harvard is the mother of all SUVs, but rather
an Exxon Valdez. In the shadows of the Harvard MBA that George Tucker Bush acquired like his National Guard service, Harvard degree holders are like the kid driving a sports car that he cannot afford, thanks to Daddy, or the perfume lady you smell from a block away. But as an environmental agent of destruction, Harvard is not as cancerous as the Nobel Prizes, which have a human impact comparable to the Kuwaiti oil field fires after the Gulf War. How many minds have focused on getting the prize by increasing human suffering? The Nobel Prizes in economics have made Stockholm a research arm of the IMF and monetarists, funding unsustainable cancerous human growth. Prizes that increase the number of people in a world that cannot afford a portion of the human population is a sentence of pain, suffering, and death. The best way to fulfill the goal of Alfred Nobel, to use his money to benefit humanity, would be to burn it. 1/3. The population time bomb is real. Lacking local, national, and global political leadership, almost every person and family fornicate like they can have as many children that they want. Mother Earth would not support half the people that are now alive, let alone a doubling of the world's population within a few decades. The number one existential human cancer is we, humans. The masses of people alive today are consuming the time of future generations. Colonialism is an international cancer. Colonialism is one nation controlling the citizens' time of another nation. When that control is one way, the colonizer will collapse as its own problem-solving, time-saving systems fade and die. As the British Empire became increasingly dependent on its colonies for survival, it was nurturing the cancer that killed the empire upon which the sun fades. Sadly, like Britain, America's habitual politicians have made America a cancerous colonial power. America's main means of meanness is monetary colonialism. Because dollars are the de facto global currency, the U.S. is able to paint the world with dollars, or symbols of green for the substance of green. America drains time from those countries to maintain the elevated standard of living. Through monetary colonialism, American politicians start wars without adjusting the domestic economy. With monetary colonialism, America exports inflation and unemployment while importing brains. Like individuals or families, countries that live beyond their means are self-cancers. The tentacles of U.S. monetary colonialism extend to more places than the British pound. As a post-colonial power assisting the world's remaining superpower, the British government of Tony Blair should be viewed not as an octopus but as a lapdog.